Welcome once again to Life That Matters. My name is Dr. Sharon Norris Elliott.
And I'm Lady Laura Simon.
And as always, those of you who are with us all the time, thank you.
Thank you.
You know, as always, we just like to talk about the regular stuff of Christian life.
The practical,
regular
stuff.
The regular stuff. I mean, God really does intend for us to live this life. He tells us He wants us to live it more abundantly.
Yes.
Okay, so that abundant.
And to practice what we read in here.
Ooh, that part. That part. So we want to do that. And we have been talking over the past few weeks about my new book. After
Her beautiful book.
Isn't it pretty?
It is so pretty.
Abundance Books published this. After Him, a widow's first year devotional journal. You know what? This is the first book that had my doctor on it.
Really?
Also, they're always just Sharon Elliott.
Really?
Or Sharon Norris Elliott.
Oh, so they had doctor on it. Okay.
And so, obviously, we've been talking about widowhood.
Right.
And we're going to keep rolling, you know, on that a little bit.
Yes.
So don't tune out if you're not a widow.
Right.
Or if you don't know, don't tune out.
Because you can still learn a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and we talk about we're really going to talk about a really practical thing.
Yeah.
Today. But before that, I do want to remind you that the new children's book is also here, Special Church Snack, which, if it's not obvious, is about communion. And this series is going to be 7 books. This is the 3rd in the series to teach our kids 3 to 7 about their faith. Just things they ought to understand and things they should know. So please pick that one up. You know, put it in the Easter baskets, give it along with the birthday gifts or, things like that.
Because it's not really a snack, is it?
It's not a snack.
I'm being
mean. Very important.
Yes,
but
I'm being
petty.
But kids
who wouldn't
3 to 7 who don't understand.
Say, snack in church.
Crackers.
Not quite.
Yeah, not quite.
Rolling on to our topic.
Yes.
For the day. And we're going to actually go into the book and talk about week 7.
Week 7.
Because week 7 talks about being alone with yourself and your thoughts. Now, somewhere along the line, whether you're married, divorced, single, looking, not looking, you are going to be alone.
With your thoughts.
Alone.
I like that.
Yeah, alone with your thoughts. So what do you do with that? Right? So in the context of the book, this came across my mind 3 months.
3 months.
After James passed.
Okay.
Because
did you really have any time before this? Okay, so did you really have any time? Because in the first 3 months of your finding out, okay, I'm really by myself.
Yeah.
Do you really have any time?
Right. It's like your thoughts and everything that's happening has just taken over.
Okay, so because you had to do the services, the folks had to come in.
Yes.
You are getting you have the trust and everything, but you're trying to get all the business taken care of. So really, for those first 3 months, you didn't have much time to just be Sharon alone.
Right. I was still in the, oh my goodness, James died zone.
Okay. And your brother and your sister-in-law are, we're all like, hey, how you doing?
Right. Everybody's calling and checking up.
And texting you at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right, all of that.
Okay.
All of that. Okay.
I'm one at 1 o'clock in the morning.
And I'm good with it because I'm awake.
Yeah.
Okay.
She is a night owl. Thank God I got a friend who's a night owl.
I know, you got
Just
one.
one.
I know, because last night I tried to call one of my clients for something she had called, and I was going through the day, and the day just finished. And then I called. She's on the East Coast. Oops.
Oh, that's late.
It was
Okay.
still, you know,
Okay.
relatively for me. What,
Yeah.
8 o'clock? I call somebody.
Yeah, so that's 11 p.m. Okay.
So
Okay.
anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So
this entry dealt with that idea. So what do you think about when you're alone?
yeah,
All right.
I would be very interested to know that.
Yeah, so even starting with the idea when you become a widow, y'all, life is different.
Okay.
It's just different. And I wrote in the second paragraph here, said, life without you is so different. I don't feel empty because I have Jesus, purpose, and hope. But I used to have you to share all of life with.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I read that line, I was teasing Laura earlier. I said, I should be a writer. I mean, that's really good.
That's a really good line.
But that's the key, I think, to making it through this whole grief process.
You have to laugh about it.
Jesus, purpose, and hope.
And hope and laughter.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so when this is going on, I am, and I liken it to widowhood. This is what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I'm at my parents now. We stay with them. Oh, I'm an only child, so we stay with them. My husband and I stay with them
Because the house is still getting...
No, they're done. They're done. Because remember, our house is done. The slab leak is done, but I still have to put it all back together.
Okay.
In the meantime, my mom and dad's house, also because they had the foundation, they had to get that fixed and shore up the house and all that. So it's finally done too.
Okay.
So
you're there.
My mom just said on one night, "Oh, you're not going to spend the night?" And we were like, "Oh yeah, okay."
Okay.
So that started into 3 nights, and now it's 3 nights a week that we stay. So yesterday, my dad said, "You know, the house is going to be yours. All the houses. You're by yourself. You're the only child." So yesterday, Tony was at Ubering and at church, and my mom and dad were at the podiatrist, and I was at the house by myself, my childhood home. Alone. And I had thoughts. And I walked around the house and I asked God, is this how it's going to be when my parents are gone?
Yeah, okay.
That hit me really hard.
Yes.
And so I thought of you because this right here, you said you're alone. So like when you're at your house, I know you're getting it remodeled and stuff right now, right? Okay. And then you got the kitchen. So let's go back. You got the kitchen remodeled too. So when you get to the alone with your thoughts, did you like walk through the house, or are you like in a room, or where are you when you finally go, I'm alone and I'm what?
Sometimes it's a catalyst that brings to mind, girl, you're alone. You know, and for me, actually, even in here, the catalyst was the TV breaking down.
So then there's nothing sounding in the house.
Well, not that. He always fixed things that broke.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So he had bought me this TV. And so this was my, my thing. Then, he got sick, he passed, whatever. And, every day I could go in, turn my TV on, do whatever I was going to do, what have you. Well, I think the catalyst of you have to figure this out. Because I didn't know the number to the guy. I was going to have to call the guy.
You.
Yeah, what guy?
No.
The guy used to be James.
Right, right.
And if there was somebody to call, He called.
He called.
You're right. He could fix it, or he called.
Okay.
So little by little, I think you come up with you start realizing what this new, different life
Looks like.
looks like. Yeah. And I think that's great, because if it all came on you at one time, you'd probably be with him. So,
So what you're saying is you'd be a little bonkers, huh?
little bonkers.
Okay.
Little bonkers.
Okay.
But Jesus, purpose, and hope. You know.
So at first, I know
ahead.
this is kind of.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so
She
did
just thinks she
you?
can ask me anything.
I'm gonna ask her.
And she
I'm because y'all want to
does.
know too. Y'all want to know. So like when you're sitting there with your thoughts, even though you have faith, purpose, and
hope.
Jesus,
Right.
and hope,
Right.
like how do you feel? What you start praying or you cry or what for real? What's that? I just know how I felt yesterday.
Yes.
Right? It's like, eerily quiet.
Eerily quiet.
The TV may be on. Yesterday it wasn't on. And I was just walking around the house, up the stairs, down the stairs, through the living room, dining room, through the library, out to the... I was like, oh, and I was alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm asking you, until the people came to fix the kitchen,
Right.
you were alone.
Yeah.
So what kind of thoughts, what were you thinking?
And like you said, days have things for you to do.
Okay.
Right. Now, for a time, all I could do was sit and veg.
So you were like in the kitchen, in the dining room?
After the funeral, there were days when I just sat.
Wow. Do you eat?
Couldn't.
Do you?
Sometimes.
Oh. Okay.
Sometimes, I'd eat.
Because you're really little now.
Sometimes I wouldn't. I'd turn the TV on, and I watch very benign things. Like, I'm not into, horror and
Bonanza, Gunsmoke,
all that. Like I like the remodeling shows. Maybe that helped to move me into the remodeling. But funny things. I love to watch.
Okay.
Reruns of the comedies I loved. But it was just sometimes just. But by the same token, this is why I'm saying everyone has a singular purpose that's not connected with anybody else. Wives, yes, you could be in ministry with your husband. You could be in business with your husband. Lots of marriages break up. We're going to be going into the marriage talking in a minute. But lots of marriages break up when the kids leave and there's an empty nest. And now the wife doesn't know what to do. Husband usually has his job, or what have you. But your life matters.
Right.
To Jesus. And finding what your purpose is and starting to live in that purpose and starting to develop that individual relationship with the Lord, that is going to carry you through.
So did you ask God about, you knew your purpose, right? You're the agent, author, speaker, minister. You were doing a lot of that already. But then with your thoughts by yourself, did you ask God about your purpose? Did you talk to him about your purpose?
Or
you were like, oh,
I didn't need to talk to him about my purpose.
Okay.
For me.
For you.
Because I was already
doing it. Okay.
I was already living in it.
So you didn't have one of those moments where,
what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
Right. I did not.
Okay. That's good.
Yes.
Okay.
I did not.
Okay.
In that area.
In that area. Okay.
All right. But what am I supposed to do now with some of the taking care of the house business and, the physical things, right?
But were you even interested in us, though? Were you interested in the authorized me folks?
Oh, of course, because you guys,
We were like your purpose, right?
Yeah, you were still my purpose.
Okay.
You were all,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And you,
see, I don't know if I could at the beginning. I don't know if I could be caring about y'all.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
And they cared about me, see?
See, okay. Well, we did because we were checking, like, how you doing?
Right.
But still.
And so, because guess what? Just like when I looked out that window.
Yes.
And life was going on.
And life was going on.
That, it was just
so you knew,
true.
So you have your purpose.
It was just
I'm good
true.
With that.
Life was going on.
Okay.
And there was it was a bump in the road.
Okay.
A huge one.
Huge one.
A huge one.
Big.
And I had to, shoot.
Yeah.
I didn't want that bump to have been there.
Okay. I understand that.
Yeah. And trying to say, I didn't want to not have him there.
Okay, so are any of your thoughts, since we're on thoughts, right? Are any of your thoughts, because I asked you this last time, but I'm going to ask it a different way. Were any of your thoughts still like he's really not gone, so what else, if he was here, what would we be doing? Or what would we be doing? Did you have any of that?
I think I steered away from that because that's a rabbit trail.
So you're going down the hole if you went there.
Right.
Okay.
That would have been, oh man, if James was still here, we would be doing, Okay. That is because he's not.
Okay.
and the thing is, we've got to, being just that real about it, that didn't mean, okay, he's gone, let me just move on. No. But then yes.
So no and yes.
It's not, I'll just move on in a sense of, oh well, like an attitude like I don't care. No. And people will want to put that on you.
Or you just...
People will want to put it on you as some kind of negative thing that you continue to live.
Yeah.
And it's not a negative thing.
Because he's not coming back.
He's not coming back.
So you have to...
You have to continue to live. And, for people to think that, oh, well, she didn't really care about him very much, because you're thinking that if you were in that situation, you would be showing everybody how much you cared by continuing to cry. That's a selfish, even point of view.
Well, that's like my cousin who's still in that area. He died 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And she's still there.
Yeah. And you can, and you're there, you're sad, but what I noticed is little by little, I was crying less.
Okay.
I didn't stop myself.
Okay.
If I cried a lot.
Okay.
So
when you were crying, were you crying because, was it
the reality of him being gone?
Okay, the sadness, the grief,
missing him,
and this is for real. This is permanent.
This is permanent.
Okay.
Yeah, and so memories would...
Right, memories.
I passed the restaurant where we had our first, date.
Yeah.
And then the restaurant where we had our second date. And the restaurant where, and I wouldn't even, I'm listening to the radio, I'm driving down the street or whatever, and it'd be like, bam!
And then their tears.
Yeah, there it is. But little by little, as I continue to trust who my real Lord is.
Your real Lord. So explain that.
Because James was not my Lord nor Savior, nor God.
Okay.
Okay? He was there. He did a lot for us. He did a lot for me. He took care of me. He took care of the boys, what have you. But his place in doing that in my life was supplied by the God that I serve.
Okay.
Right? And once we cannot get that twisted.
Right.
Because before I knew James, I knew Jesus.
Right. Before the husband,
right.
there's God. Right.
And so many times I think we stop depending on God. And now we're so dependent on the person. It could be the husband, it could be whatever it could be. Right? It could be the career. We pray and pray and pray and pray for the job, right? And then we get the job. And then we start depending on the job.
Oh, yeah. Instead of depending on the one who supplied the job.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And so getting back to the space where, like, oh, yeah, it's okay. It's me and Jesus.
Yeah. So did you ever think, now this is going to be, all right. So on some days, when Tony says to me, I'll go from room to room because he's just working my nerves. I go room to room to room.
Yeah.
And so finally he'll come in the office and say, do you just not want to be around me today? And I'm like, yes, you're getting the hint. So did that ever come to you when you were alone? It was like, and all those times, I just...
Yeah, and I think that's true of every marriage. You are not...
Yeah, because some days
you just don't want to be around, or some days you fall out with each other. And I don't want to be around you right now.
Not right now.
I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you. I don't want to look at you. Are you serious?
Right. Okay.
There's a space in the book that I talk about. We got all these happy memories and everything is flowers and hearts and everything. You know what? Sometimes marriage is just not like that.
It's not.
All the time.
It's not. We tell all the single people it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Right. And you've got to be, you got to.
And so what I'm asking you is it's all right to have those moments too.
Yeah, when you think about the negative things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And remember when, this or that or the other. And I don't know if it's the same with you, but I know sometimes after the argument is over and times have passed, I don't even remember, what were we?
No, I remember.
Oh. I remember the big ones.
I'm one of those who I remember everything. He hates that about me.
I remember the big ones, but some of the little ones,
I remember the big ones.
I don't even remember why we were upset with each other about that.
I do.
Yeah, but the ones that mattered to me.
Yeah.
I really
they all matter to me.
Right. and especially, and as a writer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You gotta remember that.
Picture the thing and how you said it and where you were standing and what.
And was your hand like this?
Right. Yeah. And then how did you walk back in with some flowers? We haven't talked this through.
Yeah. We gotta finish. We have to finish. We have to finish that conversation.
We gotta finish it. Okay. So yeah, it's all right. And I think when you get to the point where you can remember those things too.
Okay.
That's progress.
That's progress.
That's progress through, because, now I can talk about, the good times and, I rarely tell anybody about the bad times. They got to be a real close friend, because I'm not going to drag him.
Yeah, you're not going to do that.
Or whatever. But, I can remember the good. I can remember the bad. I can, good, bad, ugly. And you're not totally perfect yourself. I'm not totally perfect myself.
And I'm not at all.
Yeah. So, when they've got all these issues, well,
We all have
all these issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, the alone starts to get easier. And then filling the space,
Okay.
with that purpose and with that hope,
So I know I asked you last time, but now help me again. How was it in the house by yourself? First night.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, were you by yourself?
I wasn't by myself.
Right. Okay. So
I wasn't by myself until after the funeral.
Okay. So at, let's say, month 2.
Yeah.
How is it to be in the house alone?
I had the TV on. I did. But I did that already. I like noise.
Okay.
I like the background noise.
Okay.
Or, music, or whatever. And then it got to be, I could do anything. I could do absolutely anything I want to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, how about that?
Okay.
And then that's when the remodeling started.
Yes.
It's like,
The remodeling.
oh, yes. I really didn't like these 60s mirror tiles.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But James was not going to spend the money and take those mirror tiles down. They're down.
They're down now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that new bathroom is amazing.
Yeah, right.
The bathroom and the kitchen, they're absolutely amazing.
So anyway, we're going to finish, we promise.
We promise.
We're going to finish this conversation and move into, slide into
Marriage.
just talking about marriage, and the appreciation of each other.
Yes.
It's brought, this whole thing, right?
Yes.
Has
Make it
brought
make
to
sense.
the
You're making
front.
it make sense.
Yes, right. So my name is Dr. Sharon Norris Elliott. Still is from the beginning of the show.
That's right. And I'm Laura. I'm Lady Laura Simon.
And your life matters. Please be with us again next time.
Bye.